Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining us today on another nice day. Here it's a bit cloudy and windy, a very nice time to be napping, if I should say so myself. But if you're watching us, then you are not napping. And today we will be talking about social media 101 for shop owners. So why we created this session, why this topic is because we did get some questions on which social media should I use? Should I be on Facebook or should I be
Yeah.
on Instagram? And also because we get some questions also on some of our friends who are business owners for many years and they've only started to open up their hearts to social media, and it is scary, right? Especially if you are not an active user of social media yourself. We understand it might be scary to go there. So in today's session we will be talking about specifically Facebook and Instagram only because we have a short time. So we'll only be talking about those two. What are the differences, which one is more suitable for your business, and also stay around because we would be sharing what we will be sharing, Hanis.
Okay, so there was a
Updates about
Facebook
Facebook
group.
group.
Yes, there's a Facebook group summit yesterday, and they updated that there are few new features for admins of the Facebook group. So wait till the end. We're gonna release some of these new features.
So what is the difference between Facebook and Instagram? Let's look at the statistics, okay? Looking at the numbers, Facebook has a bigger users. There are more users there, 2 billion people. On Facebook, 96% active users account. And on Instagram, there's 500 million daily active Instagram stories. This is from a statistic in 2019, okay? And if you look here on Facebook, 65 million small businesses have Facebook pages. So, and also to share with you, a lot of businesses, they feel like they have to have a Facebook page. I would suggest you to have a Facebook page, but also a lot of businesses are on it not because they are active, but because they feel like, oh, this is just another thing that I need. And here also, 68% Instagram users visit the platform daily. This is high. And here is another point: 77% of marketers say they use Instagram as a part of their brand's social strategy. So, are you a user of Facebook and Instagram? If you are, for your business, please share in the comment section the link your URL to your Facebook page, your URL link to your Insta page. Please share us so we can have a look, and everyone else who visits this post, whether it is on Facebook or you are watching this on YouTube, just comment it there. We love to promote your business to spread the word. So just share it there. These are some of the more critical differences, which is Instagram is more popular among the younger people, and Facebook is more popular with all ages. But if you see, there are more people 30 years old and above. So the reason is because Facebook has been around longer, and those were the ones, the early adapters, the ones who were users of Facebook first. So now they are a bit older. And also, um, and also there are some research that has been done and said that if you want to target more for conversion, you should promote on Facebook because people who are on Facebook are older and they have more spending power. So that being said, does not mean that you shouldn't have an Instagram, because you see all the luxury brands, they still have a presence on Instagram too.
Yeah.
And here also, if you see the sharing type, so Instagram photos and short videos, but Facebook, you can share various types of medias: photos, articles, website link, quizzes, events, groups, and also I think the another difference is Facebook is more community based also. So if you want to form a community, then it might be better to do it on Facebook. If you have an event and you want to promote the event, you want people to set reminders and such, you can do that on Facebook. Whereas on Instagram, it's more about capturing the moment, more photo based. You can share links also, but it would perform differently. The important thing that you need to do when you want to decide should I use Facebook or should I use Instagram is that you should look at your goal. So you should look at what do you want to achieve. Is it brand awareness? Is there a marketing campaign that you want to run? Do you want to do a contest? Do you want to do a photo contest? Do you want people to spread the word? Do you want more people? Do you want more followers? Do you want more brand awareness? If so, then you want people to be tagging you. You want people to tag their friends in their posts in your competitions. If you have an event, you want to create an event and you want people to share that event and share that post. That could be on Facebook. So an example is if you have an event and you can create an event page on your Instagram, but it won't be active for a long time because after the event ends, and then there's not much content that you can keep updating that until the next year or so, which is okay because you could always share other information that is related to your event. So let's look at the questions that you should ask yourself. So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself when you are deciding, should I have a business Facebook page or should I have an Instagram business? One is, what's the demographic of my target audience? What's the age? So what's the age? What's the gender? Um, what's their behavior? So all this, when you find out, then it will give you a better idea of where you should be. So if you look at the questions, where do my target customers hang out online? If most of your target customers are 80, 90-year-old teenagers and they are on Instagram, so that is where you should be more present compared to on Facebook per se, right? Because that's where your target customers are. And then what activities interest my target customers? Also, when you look at this, when you ask questions like this to yourself, then you would see if they have particular interest, then they might be also following other groups, or they might be a part of a Facebook group or another Facebook community that is related to your business product, that is related to your business. Hence, you should be there, for example, on Facebook, because that's where they usually hang out, that's where they would discuss in their forums and such. And another question, very important, what do I want to achieve with my social media plan? So like I mentioned earlier, depending on what's your plan, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to promote do you want to spread word about a new launch? Do you want to create buzz around it? Do you want to have more engagement? Do you want to speak more with your target customers? Do you want to talk to them? Do you want them to interact with you? So maybe you should do polls and surveys on Instagram stories. So maybe you should be on Instagram. Um, and yes, these are some questions that you can ask. Hanis, do you want to add? Is there anything you want to add to this?
Actually, basically, the main thing would be where your customers are, and to be there and not just wait for them to come to your page or your profile, because there are so many profiles out there, so many interesting ones out there. So if you already know where your customers are going, that means you have to study where your competitors are as well, see what they're posting,
Mhm.
and engage with the people who are engaging with that brand. Because the more you're engaging and the more you're seen on other profiles, the more curious they will be about you, and the more likely they will come to see what you're about, you know? So it's no use just having a beautiful page and waiting for people to come. It's a bit different from having a brick and mortar store where accidentally people might walk by. Hashtags do work, but still, it's definitely, you have to be more proactive, right? In terms of finding where your customers are hanging out. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add.
Yes, and if you are still thinking, oh, but should I even be on social media? I would say yes. I would say yes. No matter what your business is, I think yes, you should be on social media. Why? Because of the reach, um, because of the engagement that you can have, the exposure. There are so many people on social media, even if it's not Facebook or Instagram, but these are two of the biggest ones. If you are still hesitant about it, maybe I should just not do it. I'm telling you, don't you should be on social media. Just do it, just create a page, and then learn from there what you can do, how to engage with your customers, because you could reach so much more. And there is a research that shows that it's a high percentage of people that discover new businesses through social media. People are googling your business and they want to find out more about you, and they want to know whether you are a legit business, you have a shop and such. They would check out your social media. And also through social media, either Facebook or Instagram, like what Hannes mentioned, the interaction that you can have by commenting, replying to your target customers um, more directly. So that would form a better connection. They would feel much closer to you. It would humanize you, and all the good stuff. So yes, you should be on social media. So now let's do some exercises. So now let's do an exercise. Let's ask some questions and see which platform is better for this for a specific task that you want to do.
Switch in. How to make sure we
Yeah,
reach
I'm
your
ready.
customers. Yeah. So basically, that's what we answered earlier. It's just to say, don't wait you have to be proactive. You have to somehow find a way in your, okay, let's just say you're on Facebook. Sorry to interrupt the build your community part. Yeah, Sarah. So just
Yes,
to address this
continue.
so that we don't forget.
Yes.
So if you're on Instagram more because you like to be more visually driven, you like shorter content, more concise, and you have a younger audience, right? So in your bio page, you know where the top part is where you have your name and what you do, you can have a link tree link. That's where you can actually list where people can find you. So they can find you on YouTube, on Instagram. They can also, if they want longer form posts, maybe they can look for you on Facebook. So all your contact details are in Linktree. It's free to use. And one important thing that you might want to add is have a link to your landing page in your Linktree, because you cannot capture your audience email addresses when you're on social media platforms. So you want them to come back to you in a way where you can
And
control. We have
opt-in.
talked about this before. Opt-in. So your email, your landing page will have something where they will be so attracted to leave their email address with you. So that's how
Which
you
is a
have
lead
the
magnet.
data in. Correct. So you have your own database. You don't have to rely on always putting stuff out and losing your contacts through your fingers. You know, you might have lots of followers, but you don't know who they are. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and that's an important point because we know that we cannot depend and rely on social media 100%. I mean, just remember what happened to Facebook a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so back to the questions. Now, if you want to build a community, where do you think you should build it? So I already answered this question earlier, actually. So there are communities on Instagram. There are people who follow an Instagram page, but if you check it out, which I do check out a lot of those groups on Instagram, they would almost always have a Facebook group, because in a Facebook group they can have a close group, a close community, and they could have more discussions because of the many features of Facebook that I shared earlier. That you can have events, you can share files and such, you can share documents and files. And this is why, in my opinion, if you want to build a community and if you want to grow it, it would be better on the Facebook. And also because on Facebook you could have their contact details, you could have their names, and it's easier for you to make them opt in, other than, for example, having 20,000 followers on your Instagram profile than having 20,000 members in your close group. So I think it would be better to have if you want to build a community, to be on Facebook. Hanis, what do you think?
Yes, I agree 100%. And once your community members see that you're putting out great stuff, you know, you're always active, you're not just leaving them be. Try to motivate them to also post, because most members, when they start off, they can be quite shy. They're finding themselves, you know, they're finding their strengths and things like that. So put in prompts so that they try to answer your questions, general things, and then when you have grown the community a bigger deal, you can start offering them more exclusive content. So there's always layers, even in a Facebook group. There'll be the general layer, and then there'll be a more exclusive layer. So that's one thing that you can consider.
Now, the second question, if you want to run a photo contest, where should it be? Should it be on Facebook or should it be on Instagram? Like we shared earlier, Instagram is a photo sharing app. It started as a photo sharing app. You can do a lot more now because there's Instagram shops and such. But yeah, Suchin says IG. Yes, I think you should also use IG if you want to run a photo contest. And when you do run a photo contest, remember that you can always repurpose the content. Remember to state your terms and condition. Write it in the caption, and in the caption also, if you don't want to write the terms and conditions there, you could write it on your web page and just put the link in your bio or on your link tree, like we showed earlier. And when people submit their photos, remember to ask for permission, so you could reuse the content for as one of your marketing materials. So we talked about user generated content before. This is a good way to get more people to see that a lot of other people are using your product and services.
Yeah, I agree completely. And you know, UGC, user generated content, you don't have to just depend on it being on your social media platforms. You can also have a service, a solution where you can integrate it into your own website. So there's more content there in your website. You know, more your website won't be static. but it'll be actually very more dynamic when you have UGC in there. And people, when they see that other people are posting stuff about you, that adds to your credibility.
Yes, and we shared this last Wednesday when Honey shared about the product pages and sharing more pictures of products on your product page on your website. Next, if you want to promote an event, should you use Instagram or should you use Facebook? I say use both. Why not use both, right? So use both, but also, yes, use both because on Instagram you could also have countdowns, and now you can put the link there, and on Instagram along with the link, and now everyone can also put a link in their stories. Leading up to the event, you could create competitions on Instagram, and on Facebook when you want to promote an event, also you could create your event page, ask people to set a reminder, and have mini events before the event itself. You could share all your participants or all your, for example, I'm thinking of a bazaar. If you're having a like a Christmas bazaar and you create the event on Facebook, you could tag your vendors there, share all the information there, share about the map, the route, where to park and such. You could put it all under your Facebook group. Your Facebook event page, and people could just check that page. So I think in this case, I think Facebook, you can do a lot more with Facebook than Instagram. But if you do have an Instagram page, then promote it there also. So what do you think, Hanis?
Yeah, I would agree. It's more streamlined when you have a Facebook event page rather than an Instagram one. But you can always complement it, like what you said. So if you're having your core details in Facebook, you can have your Instagram stories leading them to your Facebook page as well. Or yeah, because now your Instagram stories, you can have sticker links. I have gotten mine, so you should check out yours. It's basically when you add stickers, then there's an option for you to put a link which will link it to wherever you want your followers to go to, or your readers or viewers to go to. So check that out.
And last question is, if you want to go live, if you want to create more live videos, where should you go if you discovered that you like talking like this, like what I'm doing right now? You like putting on a show and you like talking to the camera and interacting with people in real life time, chat with them while you're talking. Now, if you want to go live, where should you go? Should you go on Instagram or should you go on Facebook? So, what do I think? What do you think? What do you think? Write down in the comments. Where do you go live? So for me, I think if you want to make more sales, then you could go on Facebook. You could go on Facebook page, and you could have a system that could auto capture all the orders very easily, and that can auto invoice and such. And this is just using Facebook Live, right? So this is just using Facebook Live. But also, Instagram Live is really popular for people who want to touch base with their followers. Then you could use Instagram Live. So, Hanis, do you want to elaborate more on this?
Uh, we're always so passionate about Facebook Live. That I feel that Facebook Live gives you more order. Yeah, you can go on TikTok, you can go on Instagram and everything, but when it comes to Facebook selling, I feel that it's easier to have a system in place where you can sell directly. I know you have Instagram shops, you have where you can actually have people, click on a product that they like and they can check out, but there's no real interaction there in the shop itself. So when you're using Facebook Live, there's a lot of interaction going on with you and your audience, and you don't have to worry about capturing orders manually anymore. Like what Sarah, you said, with the system in place, you just have to put in the order code with the quantity that you want, and immediately it goes into your Facebook Messenger. So no headache there for both your customer and yourself. So if you want to know more about the system, you can always reach out to us, and we can do a demo for you.
Yes, and switching commented, FB Live, but depends on audience. You are exactly right. You are correct. It really does. That's the biggest thing. It depends on your audience. Where are your customers at? No matter how good Facebook is, if 80% of your customers are on Instagram, better go live on Instagram. Why would you go on Facebook? That is true. It
Yeah,
depends on your audience.
correct. And if you're educating only, you're not selling physical products, you can go anywhere. It doesn't matter. So like if you're selling online courses and stuff like that, right? You can just go IG Live, no problem, because you don't have to have stocks in hand. But yeah, so yeah, I guess in terms of Facebook Live, if you're selling a course, I would actually say Facebook Live Well, with StreamYard, you can actually put in the interaction tools. Like right now, we can put in the comments. You can actually, so that means you have a tool where your audience comments will come up. It's more like, it's more personable versus Instagram, where you can't have all those tools in place. You cannot put in, like, I know there's some video tools, not just StreamYard. There are other tools, so you can add GIFs, you can add videos on the spot. So again, depends on what your objective is when you want to go live. If you're still having trouble finding the motivation to post in your social media platforms, we are launching a download next week. Are you excited? and a challenge, so that we can all be motivated together. So if you're interested in getting that download, just leave a message in the comment box, says I want that download, and then we'll reach out to you through Facebook Messenger. So do check it out. If you really want us to help you be motivated and for you to help you find the content for 30 days, do leave your comment below. Okay, so want that download, leave that comment below. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to, like what Sarah said in the beginning of the show, there are some updates to Facebook groups. Yesterday, we were actually part of the Facebook Communities Summit. So Mark Z, our friend, he announced some new features coming to groups. So, okay, for those who are selling already on Facebook, Shops is coming to groups for selling merchandise. There will be a paid subgroups for members to subscribe for a fee to gain exclusive access to more content, experiences. So if you're in coaching or you want to have deeper conversations, like what we mentioned earlier today as well, to have a deeper level, a smaller, more exclusive group, this is something that you can do. You can charge them for it, or you don't. If you don't want to charge, that's also okay. There will also be a community fundraisers to help raise money for group projects. So if you're an NGO and you're thinking, okay, how else am I going to raise funds? This is something that you can do in Facebook groups. So for admins of Facebook groups, this new experience will allow you to have an official voice when interacting with your community. Admins of pages will also be able to take advantage of the moderation tools that groups have today. In fact, I run a few groups, right? So it actually automates which posts will be approved. So I don't have to manually approve all posts. So there's some words that I don't want certain words to be posted up there. For example, loan sharks. I can put that as an exempted word. Okay then, so thanks again for joining us. So we'll wrap it up and we'll see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.